Okay, I got a second to find this.
Like a flame that never dies, burning strong through the night. You and I, we're more than just pretend. When the world is cold and dark, we light it up, we leave a mark. Our hearts are bound, a spark ignites in the shadow of the moonlight.
Greetings. Boy, howdy. I swear, every single time I try to launch a program, I don't repeat the same mistake. I make all new ones. Welcome, my guests. We have Keilah from Mental Health Matters, and of course, we have the lovely Shannon is joining us.
Hello, everybody. It's so great
Well,
to see everybody.
how you guys are doing this fine day?
Great. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you for
And
coming on and subjecting yourself to this show, where we aim. People oftentimes say, "You know what? I wish there was something on YouTube," and that's what we aim to do: be something on
something.
YouTube. So,
Okay.
yes, the theme of today's show. We've, of course, there has been a lot of talk lately about narcissistic abuse. Whoa, that did not go down right. And narcissistic behaviors. And so today's show is how once you're in, or started that, once you've identified that you're in, of course, we'll go over generally what narcissism is. And once you start to venture out, what does that kind of look like? You know, what kind of tools might you try on your journey out? And, what are some things to keep in mind? That kind of thing. So just to start, welcome everybody. I
Yes.
always fail to do a roll call. Carry on. Lori Smith, awakened. I'm sorry, Ned. Of course, the lovely Body Illusion, who has an orbital cannon to nuke trolls, and she's not afraid to use it. I'm quite impressed with her.
He's very good at it.
Yes. Kathy, welcome. Lori Sue, welcome. Let's see, Gretchen only. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Now the pressure's on.
Surviving together, Max. Great
Oh
to
wow.
see you.
Yeah. Guess. All right. Well, welcome everybody, and so try to get this started.
No pressure. My,
Well, yeah. Now.
No. The other half is in here, Dr. Gretchen. So
Yeah.
no pressure on me.
Yeah. I try not to. I always try not to think of the doctor part. Like, oh my gosh, yes, that's.
Well, she says Gretchen only, right?
It's
Hi,
Gretchen
Blake.
And all my mods are here. Hey, y'all. Thank you.
Oh, that's lovely. My notes disappeared too. So, okay.
I'm glad it's not just me.
Oh my. Okay. Narcissism. So, I mean, what exactly is it? It is most often terms, it's used to describe a series of behaviors that somebody exhibits. Now, you don't necessarily have to be a narcissist to exhibit some of these, but usually if you have so many of them in the DSM-5, you are termed a quote narcissist. But there can be comorbidity. You can have multiple dysfunctions or multiple pathologies and still be considered a narcissist. For purposes of this discussion, it's just going to be somebody who tends to use narcissistic behavior. I tend not to like to use that term much, but it is what it is, and it makes things, without that term, it would make it rather lengthy to keep differentiating what you're talking about. So,
Right.
yeah,
And we need some tools for dealing with narcissists
yeah,
because I've come across them lately a lot.
yeah,
And so I need to know how to handle that. So
sure.
is
Well,
there a
and,
way to handle it, or
and
is it just you have to walk away? That's
yeah,
what I'd like to know.
yeah. Of course, there's also several different types of narcissism. You have overt and covert, and of course, then you have your primary narcissism, which is going to be instinctual and survival based, and then you're going to have your secondary or pathogenic narcissism, characterized by arrogance, your lack of self-esteem, your lack of empathy, that kind of thing. Most often, we're talking about the pathogenic narcissism, and we're going to, just for sake of simplicity, we're just going to meld your standard narcissism and your non-traditional, or what's the term? Non-traditional narcissist, which is also, I just used it. Wow, it's going to be a long day. Your covert narcissist.
Okay, covert.
Yeah.
The one thing they do all have in common is they need and require fuel.
Yes.
And that would be us.
Yes, and
Yes.
this came up earlier when I was talking with the lovely Keilah. Okay, let's just take a moment.
Deep breath.
The words. Okay, I feel the words. Feel the words. Be the words. Yes, the words are flowing. They're flowing like, I won't go into that. Okay, yes, but we were talking about this earlier, and there's a great source. I don't necessarily suggest everybody use it because he can be quite triggering, by the name of H.G. Tudor.
That's my hero.
I love him.
Me too.
He can be very triggering to people because he's very frank. He doesn't pull any punches. He's just in your face. But the thing,
he tells it like it is.
Yeah. And the thing I like about him,
he is one, and he's
right.
a psychopath.
That's right.
Diagnosed as a narcissist and a psychopath. And so he explains how he just doesn't give a crap about anything except for himself, and that's it. And what he can get from other people.
And the only reason that he does help so many people, he has saved so many lives by sharing his internal self, what he does. And he does that because he says the only thing that can beat him or get him is death. And the way he cheats death is to leave a legacy, to leave all of these videos and to help all these people. So it's not to actually for the good of others, but it will leave his legacy behind. Although he has saved, it's very much fuel, but he has saved so many lives.
Yes.
Yeah. And I do like the terminology that he uses, calling interactions with people as fuel, because that is how they view it. And it's very important to keep that in mind for your own safety. I mean, because everybody, they get caught in these relationships and they keep thinking, oh, but this person really does care. It's only because of my screw-ups that he has all these problems. If I was a better person, that is what they do. That is exactly what they do. That is why they do. They do that to devalue people and get energy, fuel.
For me, it was like two different people. Like the love bombing phase.
Yes.
Too good to be true. So that's a sign right there. If it's too
Shannon, you're an empath, correct?
I believe so.
Yeah, I believe so too, because that's what they target. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but just the too good to be true phase was unbelievably wonderful, and you think that that's love. And then the devaluation is just, makes you feel lower than dirt. But I had a hard time understanding Jekyll and Hyde. I mean,
you just took the words out of my mouth.
So, yeah. So, and I mean, luckily that relationship is long in my past, but I see that I seem to attract that same type of person over and over again.
And most empaths do. That is what happens, and it's not your fault. What they feed on are empaths. Narcissists feed on empaths.
Yeah.
So that's their fuel. So you just have to be careful of those traits coming up in someone, in the future. If you see those same traits, get off that merry-go-round as soon as you can.
Before you start actually having caring, feeling.
Yeah, and don't let the love bombing start again. Get away. I do the zero contact. Okay. I know that there's a lot of people that have to do the gray rocking and they have to communicate because of custody or things like that. But for me, I do zero contact.
Yeah,
because that's the best. That's the only way to protect your own self.
Yes, because you're talking about somebody who is naturally gifted. Think of this may help if somebody's an empath. You're naturally gifted towards sensing the feeling of others. You're talking about somebody who's naturally gifted at manipulating others, who has a bit of a bent towards this person needs this person needs that. And a lot of them are slick, not all of them. I mean, it's like any other segment of society. You can have some that are skilled. Yeah. It's like you have a lot of psychopaths that are very slick, like Ted Bundy. But then you have some like the Night Stalker, which I'm sorry.
Right. Richard Ramirez.
Rocks,
Right.
Ramirez. He wasn't charismatic at all. But a lot of times they are charismatic to draw you in.
Yes. And that
is. I mean, there's gotta be something good about them or you're not going to go that way. I mean, if you see what they are right from the start, there's no chance. So just like everything else that ends up turning out bad, same with the narcissistic relationship, it's all great and wonderful until it isn't.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And some common questions that you can ask yourself if you're not sure if you're in a narcissistic relationship. Of course, we could come up with a long list that could go on for the entire day, but some good, real basic questions are, do I sometimes get very strong feeling that I'm being manipulated and then I ignore it? That's pretty common for people to do. If I'm being honest with myself, am I being controlled and I'm not getting my needs met? Have I been forced to sacrifice my other relationships and priorities in a constant attempt to serve this person's needs? I mean, if you answer yes to that, then it's probably, or even something more basic, most basic. Am I getting my needs met? And be honest.
Are you doing just the opposite? Are you meeting the other person's needs and putting yours aside?
Yes, and they will tend to latch on to people who are, if the term empath doesn't resonate, codependent. I mean, I'm not equating empaths and codependence.
No, I mean, you have codependent narcissists, you have codependent empaths.
Yeah, the codependent is somebody who tends to draw their value off other people. And as we're talking on Jimena's channel, that is a really dangerous situation because a codependent is like, I'm not okay unless you're okay. And when that other person is a narcissist, they're never okay. So it's like, you're never okay. Like constantly pouring admiration. Any little correction will just get exploded back at you. It'll just be completely, you can do something really minor. And this is a key thing. And it may not necessarily be a narcissist, but this is a big red flag regardless of what the person is. If you give them a little, I mean, we're not talking about an attack. If you give them a little, maybe constructive criticism, and you get back an onslaught.
You never, there's 10 things.
And they've done that.
You never say to a narcissist, then that's one of those, The way I like to put it is if you're giving more than you're getting, Or if it is so exhausting that you just have nothing left to give, because it's just like a vessel, you give until it's gone. If it's not being returned, it can't be recycled. Therefore, you have nothing left to give, and then you're just at the bottom, and then your fuel until they do their little hovering and devaluation, and then the love bombing starts again once you do the detachment, and then they draw you back in. You feel filled up again, but you're not actually filled up. What you're doing is it's that cycle. You've got to get out of that cycle. You have to recognize it first and foremost.
And the other technique, what is the gray rock? I mean, I think it's pretty easy to, not that it's easy to walk away, but walking away is, I mean, it's not simple, but I mean, walking away, that's pretty easy. If you have to deal with them, like I have a friend, her brother's a narcissist, and she has to deal with her brother because, I mean, it's the family and the mother. So how do you
okay, so I'm looking this way just because I have everything pulled up over here at my other screen. So just so you know, but so I've never really dealt with the gray rocking because I've always, like I said, I've zero contact. But there are people that have to do this, so you have to engage with them, and unfortunately, it is true. But you have to be like unresponsive. Don't give them fuel. Don't give them eye contact. Don't give them any emotion whatsoever to feed off of, negative or positive. If you have to have, if you have to have communication with them, stay neutral. Like everything is just this indifference, no fuel, where they cannot get any reaction out of you. Don't look them in the eyes. Just totally disengage from them. Don't let them have a chance of getting you back, if you don't look them in the eyes, that's the first thing, be very selective about what you're going to speak about or talk about. If it's about custody, then that's strictly it. There's no about the weather. There's very straight to the point and done. And leave. And try to do it over the phone. Try to do it through the email. Try not to have to be in this, the same place as them. Unfortunately, this still does happen. So when you have to do that, very brief. Have your support system with you. Don't let them capture you back in that web.
Yes, exactly. And that was one of the things that I saw when dealing with a narcissist. You, of course, want to do with writing as much as possible.
Yes.
Because they tend to be experts in what's called gaslighting. I think everybody probably knows what that means, but they'll do something or say something, then later you ask them about it or you'll try to reference it, and that never happened.
That didn't happen.
What's wrong with you? They get you to start questioning reality, if they're good enough, and if you let them.
Your own brain. Like your own sanity.
Yes.
Exactly.
So it's very important to deal with, try to get as much, and if you must deal with them.
Yeah.
Try to do it over email. Probably the best.
Text, email, anything that's not in person that you don't, or over the phone if you don't have to do that.
Yes. Yes, and always be sure, and this, of course, leads to our first point in dealing with trying to recover. Sorry, my narcissist bird feels like he needs to interject constantly.
He's hovering. He's hovering.
Yes.
Hovering.
Leads to our first point. If you are trying to stay away, or if you're dealing with narcissistic abuse, the very most important thing, the first thing you must hit, is boundaries. Have
boundaries.
Solid boundaries. Because if you don't have those, then, and that is what they are experts at getting you to violate, or getting us to violate, is our own boundaries. So it's very important to set boundaries, and by all means, tooth and nail stick to them. That's why writing is like email, because it gives you email. Not only do you have that separation, which helps physically separate, especially if you're an empath or the tiniest bit empathically inclined, that email will help. It's still a problem, but at least that physical separation is a good buffer between you and them. And then you also have a written record. So that fulfills, two purposes right there. So,
And with email, you have to actually open it. I found that narcissists have just, say, for instance, messaging on Facebook, like,
mm-hmm.
and it just pops up on my phone, and that's the first thing I see when I wake up in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, that was the last thing I needed, was to see that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
I know the
obviously,
feeling.
yeah, exactly. Like the very
We've all
first,
been there.
oh my. So
Yeah.
somehow, yeah, so that at least needed to be blocked. I
Mm-hmm.
Right.
the first time that happened, I didn't block the person. Then the next time I woke up and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you
No,
just
zero. I mean, Dr. Gretchen, yes, it is not you. She is so right.
Yeah.
Um,
Go ahead.
she's so
Sorry.
right. No, I would say if you've got to do the zero, I mean, like if you can, do the zero contact. That is your best bet.
Yeah.
And don't wait 5, 10 years down the road. There's no time. They're not going to change. They are who they are. You're not going to change a narcissist. So they may come back 5 or 10 years later and think, oh, well, let me try this again and start the love bombing. But I'm so sorry. I know I was wrong. No, that's still the same merry-go-round.
Yeah.
Complete zero contact forever.
Yeah.
They're not going to change.
Yeah. Otherwise, you get caught. And of course, we've alluded to this, but you have the narcissistic cycle of abuse where it starts off with the taking in or the love bombing or whatever you want to call it. And then it moves on to the devaluation stage. They're love bombing you. But if you'll notice, and this came up with Jimena, a lot of times, even when they're love bombing you, they'll give you a compliment, but it will be kind of
backhanded. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a backhand that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, like I like, and I think I can't remember if this is the exact example we came up with yesterday, but something like, I like that necklace on you. It's really a nice necklace. It makes your nose look big, or something really off the wall like that. Yeah.
Anything is going to happen like that. Exactly.
I can't believe you're so pretty. I can't believe that you have the confidence to wear that color.
Yeah,
yes.
That is a great one there.
And that is perfect. And they know what they're doing when they do that.
Yeah. Now, if somebody's socially awkward, that can mimic that. And we see a lot of social awkwardness, especially after the vid, when everybody disconnected and they're all sitting in their homes. But the thing is, the more you talk to the person involved, the less, as they get comfortable, they'll start being less and less awkward. If it's a narcissist, on the other hand, that's going to continue because they want to make sure they're getting a good gauge. Like, I can control this person.
If it is exhausting and it's that much work, walk away.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Melinda, you're cute for a fat girl.
God. Oh my gosh.
But no, I mean, seriously, like, if it's so exhausting that you don't even look forward, like it's just too exhausting. And we all have our lines that we just know that it's just too much. Walk away. Don't wait for that devaluation. Walk away.
Yeah.
And it's easier said than done. It is way easier said than done. But if you have a support system already in place, it makes it a whole lot easier.
Which is a great segue into the second point, having a support system, friends, family, if they're safe, if they're not the cause of it.
Right.
A support group. There are plenty of therapists that use support groups, and typically a support group versus one-on-one therapy, it will typically, not always, but a lot of times you're able to get a special rate because it's like 15
peer
people
support
in there. Yeah, and that kind of support works really, really well because you have other people there to hold you accountable. And if you have to go back next week and talk about your progress, unless you want to lie, which of course that's a whole other issue, but that having just that little bit of reinforcement ounces of reinforcement can save you pounds of trouble later. So just having people just to sit and just decompress to. Like, this is what
Now-
I go through.
Now, on that, you have to be careful about and hope, like get a good support. Like if you're going to go to a peer support, be careful who you talk to. No mutual friends, because they're going to be just as charming to them, and they're going to get that information from them. So you have to be very careful on. You can't just walk zero contact or gray rock or whatever you have to do. Just them, their friends, your mutual friends, anything that you've got to cut all ties. It's not just the person.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Can't remember what I was going to go with that now.
Sorry, Ben Squirrel.
No. I had my bullet points all nice and laid out in the notes section. I don't know what happened, but they all went poof. So last time we did a subject on this, I had too many notes. Now it's just time to embrace the chaos and just
embrace the chaos. Okay.
Yes.
We are good.
We're just friends talking. It's all good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all about, I am really all about going and getting support from people, but you've got to be able to trust those people. That's just a big thing for me.
Yes.
If you're going to get support, be careful who you're getting the support from. Find an anonymous peer support group that you didn't even know about, much less that person's going to know about. Even if it's all complete strangers, that's fine. But just make sure there's no contact there, or it's running back, because they're going to use that, whatever you say.
I mean, think about it. Like, if I were a narcissist, go to a codependence anonymous meeting would be the
perfect.
Would it be the best way to get fuel?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Dr. Gretchen.
Yes, that was a big point with them, was the isolation.
Yes. No family, no friends, that's I think about the bite model when I think about that, the control. I mean, it can go for so many things, but and Hamina and I have talked plenty of the gray rocking, because she had to use the gray rock technique. And her and I both discussed it about, I like the zero contact, but there are times, like when you have children, you cannot use that. And so she's great at the gray rock. She could explain it like so well.
Yes, that is very true, Laurie Smith. Dr. Ramani is also a good source. By all means, there's certainly a lot of good sources here on YouTube. Dr. Ramani tends to hammer on narcissists quite a bit, but if you're in that relation, or if you've had that relationship, it's important to constantly, have, at least every now and again, even if you feel like you're out, just to have that reinforcement to make sure that you don't have that acting upon you still. I
like what Barbara Tampa Bay just said. She said there's a spectrum of narcissism, but you have to treat it all the same.
Yeah. And
because you have your lower and your upper and your lessers. We've watched HG. When you have your unaware narcissist, but you're still giving them fuel, and that is all they crave. That is what they crave.
Yeah, they don't have to know they're doing it.
No, they don't even know. Some of them don't even know they're doing it.
Yeah.
The worst ones are the ones that do it deliberately, but but it doesn't matter what the intention is. It's still the same on you.
They want the fuel.
You're still
bad or good. Yeah. Oh, Tampa Bay, you're not socially awkward. I love you.
But
actually,
I could see people being like that are socially awkward being you might confuse that for like a backward compliment. They might not even realize that they're doing it.
But
there's got to be more than one thing.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's got to be a pattern of behavior.
Yeah. Right.
And that's, and I think the point's already been raised here, but I'll just echo it again. Yeah, this is going to be a spectrum where somebody can be at the lower end, have just a couple, and somebody can be your ultra, like
HG.
And anywhere in between. Yeah. And then you can have comorbidities feeding into this. You can have somebody who's partly histrionic, who also has, histrionic and
I look at it like the X
Yeah,
like the X, like you got the histrionic, your borderline, your antisocial, and your narcissism, and they can cross all in there. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I always tend to think of them more as kissing cousins, but I think I do that.
I like that.
Tend to remember them easier, but
I mean, our histrionic personality disorder, is that typically a narcissist, or is it completely different?
That is like the lightest one of all the personality disorders. That is just like the lesser. That's just like the bratty kid to me. I'm not. Because we're in where I work and what I deal with are the antisocial, the narcissistic.
no kidding.
The most, and you won't believe this or not, but the most. I don't know. Here goes my words again, Ben. Told you this was going to happen. The one that worries me the most dangerous one is borderline, because they will take it so far to get your attention that they won't realize they're taking it that far, and that causes more of the unaliving, not meaning to. So that is the one you really have to take.
The signs of that, because I had a psychologist say that I might have a borderline personality disorder at one time.
And then you have cluster, your whole cluster B personalities are just, there's just so many. There's so many. You have to check like all the boxes on the BPD for that, or 7 of the 9, I think is what it is.
And what are some of, off the top of your head, what are some?
My head don't work anymore. I can look them up.
No
kidding. No kidding. My head doesn't work anymore. But I used to do this. Getting old is not good.
No, it's not.
Are you talking cluster B?
It's better than the alternative.
Right. Better than the alternative. So, okay. So I deal with one borderline personality disorder, in particular, on a day-to-day basis. I will tell you this: that her mom and her dad are both dead. I got her at my facility when she was in her 20s. She's now going to be 33 next week, or 34 next week. But she also had a dual diagnosis. She has IDD, but so she had developmental delays. But she is 100% borderline personality disorder. And once we got her correctly, diagnosed, all these meds that she was on, we cut them down, got a right diagnosis. And then you learn to look for those symptoms and those fuel. That's the same thing, wanting fuel. Doesn't matter if it's bad or good. She just wants fuel. And sometimes I'm thinking, are we really dealing with borderline here? Or are we really dealing with narcissistic here? But no, she does fit it's just everything. Yes. So I deal with this on a day-to-day basis. I am the focus of her whole thing. So I have to keep my distance from her now. And her godmother actually got killed. It's been 2 years ago coming up. So in a car wreck. So she has no one left. And I am now that focus. So I have to keep my distance from her. And as much as that hurts me as an empath, knowing that abandonment is the biggest deal for borderline. That is what it all starts out with, is the abandonment or the fear of abandonment. And because she does have that, and she's got a right to have that. I mean, she has lost so many people. My empath part of me wants just to take her and hold her. In fact, I had them bring her here to my home when we found out that her godmother had gotten that car wreck the night before. And I had been on the phone with her when it happened, didn't even know that that's what had happened. I thought we just got disconnected. So that really made it tough on me. And my staff called me the next morning and said, do you know what happened? And I'm like, bring her here now to my house. I told her here at my house, because I didn't want her to be told where she lived. So I think about all those things when it comes into play, and I keep my distance now, because now I'm her sole focus. She has no one, and boy, does she act out. Like, I mean, it's just, but I think that's got to do, a lot of that has to do though with she has a real fear of abandonment for a reason. And it's turned into, she doesn't have the cognitive awareness to stop this from getting to where she's at now. But the fear of abandonment is the core of borderline personality disorder for sure. And
the only thing I think with that is Jodi Arias. Jodi Arias, I believe, was the epitome of a borderline personality disorder. Are you familiar with that? Or
yes, not too bad. I didn't know.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yes, I do know. But
I had to think for a while. It's been a while.
I mean, not that all of them murder their boyfriends and take photos of it.
That's what gets me to wondering about, like, was she maybe a little bit of both, or,
Yeah.
maybe with some stuff in there that, wasn't diagnosed. But okay, so like fear of abandonment on the 9 symptoms for the BPD. Fear of abandonment, number 1, I mean, it can be real or not, but if that is your perception, that is your reality.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, of course.
I mean, that obviously, so unstable relationships and self-image. Oh my God. Self-image. She had an eating disorder. She self-harmed. I mean, it was all right there in front of us and we didn't see it. Impulsive, self-destructive behaviors. Self-harm. Okay. Extreme emotional mood swings. Okay. So I'm going to tell you this. This is what I was explained to me in school. A lot of people say that borderline and bipolar because of this, or you have a rapid cycle or bipolar. Okay, but this is what the therapist, my preceptor told me. It's like, hold up your hand. He said, if you have your ups and your downs, your manic, your depression. He said, if you can do this in one day, that is not a rapid cycle or bipolar, and it's not bipolar, it's borderline, because bipolars do not cycle that quick. Now, I've heard people say different, but that's what I was taught. Because you usually have a few months sometimes, except for rapid cyclers, that is different, but you're not going to get this many highs and lows in one day normally on bipolar. It's going to be borderline. Explosive anger, just explosive anger outburst. And then just the chronic feeling of emptiness where they feel like they don't have anything in them. That is your symptoms for borderline, according to the DSM.
Yeah, and it's important. It's also important to point out that, of course, everybody goes through stages of depression, but you're talking like you said before, a rapid, spike up and down, like a switch turning on and off.
Yes.
Because everybody goes through situations where, you can be on a high 1 second and then all of a sudden something happens or something triggers. It could be something as innocent as a smell, and that will trigger a memory or something you may not be aware of, and you can go down the depths of despair.
A text message they received, and they took it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I texted her, I'm going to be late. I'm coming. I'm going to be late. Obviously, that would be me, but I'm going to be late. I'm coming though. Okay. All of a sudden, that anger was explosive. I'm never talking to you again. I mean, just over the top emotional irregularity. It's just like there's nothing you can do. You have to do not give them fuel. Walk away. Tampa, yes, it's minute by minute sometimes. She's absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, it is that bad.
And what about Cosmic's comment? I have all of those symptoms. I have level 2 autism, ADHD, CPTSD, was misdiagnosed with bipolar for 20 years, all linked to trauma and untreated neurodivergence.
I have ADHD. I have CTPSD. I have seizures. I have depression slightly. Anxiety. I do understand so much about that. I mean, I do understand. Now, I'm not on the spectrum, but being misdiagnosed is the number one issue in mental health. But but everybody has to understand, this is not like we can go take a x-ray of an arm.
Yeah.
It's broken. This is what will fix it. Okay. If you have diabetes, you cannot go take a picture of your pancreas and say, oh, it's broken. This is how we fix it. You have to try different insulins until you find the one that works for your body. Same with any mental health. You can't go take a picture of your brain and say, well, I mean, now they're doing amazing things with MRIs, but I'm just saying most everyday, physicians or psychologists, you cannot just do that and say, well, this is what it is. And this is because I promise you, CBT, DBT, you could try every non-medication, but Well, all that does is teach. And group therapy is teach people with borderline personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder how to perfect their skills.
Yep. Yep. And a lot of narcissists will tend to be like psychopaths, where psychopaths are great at this. They don't necessarily understand feelings, but what they pick up on, and Ted Bundy was an excellent example of this. He would see people exhibiting like what is that? And he would practice that facial expression until he got it. And there were several times in his last interview, creepy stuff. If you listen to his words in the last interview he gave right before he checked out of this world, I'll say, it was with Doctor. Oh, I can't remember his name. Focus on the Family is all I remember from him. But he gave a prison interview.
But he was still manipulating right to the very end.
Right to the very end.
In that interview.
Yeah, and he completely...
he had that guy in the palm of his hand. He just...
And there was one point when he's causing him to remember a particular victim. And you have to pay close attention. Yeah, it's really quick, but you can see him smile when he's remembering.
Dr. Dobson.
Dobson, yes. And he had him wrapped around his finger. And the thing is that because he was saying, if you were doing just strictly statement analysis, you would miss it, because everything he was saying was what Dr. Dobson wanted to hear. But if you watched his facial expressions and the way he gets remembering his victims and he starts smiling,
there's the eye that I call it the narcissistic or I call it the psychopath stare, the sociopathic stare. I mean, like the eyes don't lie.
Yeah.
And they say the eyes are the window to the soul. Well, when you don't have one, they're blank.
Yeah, and they tend to, a couple different schools of thought on that one, they don't necessarily know when it's socially awkward to look away, or two, that sometimes they spot what they want and they're like, oh yeah, and that is much more malicious. But I mean, in either event, it's important to remember that is how they see you. I mean, if you're talking narcissist, they see you, again, as we said several times, as fuel. If you're talking psychopath, you can go a lot of places pretty quick with that one. I don't know if we necessarily should, but it's fuel. I mean, it can be a lot of different things, but or a lot of different types of fuel for them.
One thing on here on the narcissist is create a constant schedule, a consistent schedule, like get on a routine. Get yourself on a routine so that things come back to I don't use the word normal, because like I say, the only normal is the setting on my washer and my dryer. There's no normal, but it's close to your baseline and back to your old self, like back to yourself before that person came into your life and destroyed your whole self-confidence and everything about you and destroyed you. You want to try to go back and get in a routine, even if it's something as simple as getting up and what they say, make your bed. You've done something for the day. Just get back into that and keep doing it. Practice it over and over. Zero contact. Keep going. And eventually you're going to get to a weekly schedule where you can stay on a consistent routine. That will help more than you know, along with the peer support, along with all the other things. But being on a good schedule and not varying from that unless you have to, it puts order back in your life. And then your self-worth comes back or starts to come back, because that order is going to make you feel better about yourself.
Absolutely.
You're back in control.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And that is something that you in a narcissistic relationship is taken from you.
Yes.
You may not notice it. It may be gradual, but everything is, like before, we talked about that lack of that isolation they like to use on you. And
that's the first thing they're going to do. And it's weird. I had a friend. She was on American Idol, actually, and it's not the friend that everybody that knows or I'm friends with on American Idol. It was on a different season, and I had no idea until she wrote a song. She came on, I forgot what it was, it was on Facebook, on one of her Facebook lives. And her and I were sitting there talking, and there was a lot of us, and her mom was sitting by her. And I was like, what is going on? You know, I know her mom's always there to support her, but she told the story that the reason she had disappeared for so long, it was about 9 months. We didn't know where she was at. We thought she was writing music. She had been in a very bad narcissistic relationship. The guy had her held captive in California. Her mother lives in, Alabama, wondering what happened to her daughter. And he kept answering her phone saying, oh, well, she's doing this, or she's at the studio, or mama had enough. And you don't mess with mama. And I'm not going to reveal who this person is by no means, but I'm saying you don't mess with mama. Yeah. Mama goes to California, and mama goes to find her daughter and finds her tied up in the bathroom because oh my gosh. He said he could not make it without her. It took her a long time to come out and tell this, but once she did, she said she had never felt freer. That was what she needed to get because she kept going back to him and no one knew. She said, I have been in a very bad abusive relationship to the point that he was going to end her life if she would have escaped this time, but mama was there. And it will get to that point.
Oh, that's tremendous that she was able to save her.
Yes. No. Yeah. Knowing her mama like I do. Yeah. There wouldn't have been any other way because it got weird. Yeah. Him always answering her phone and things like that. No music coming out. Her daughter calls her every day, and she hasn't heard from her in months. And she goes on she goes in detail on what he did to her on a daily basis. Tied her up, kept her in there, took her phone, isolated her. Yeah. But mama knew something was wrong, and mama went and got her.
Good. I'm glad that worked out because oftentimes
sadly, it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. It often ends very badly, unfortunately.
Yeah. And you know that you can, I think the reason maybe that she kept going back, I know that grief is a part of this whole process. You are going to grieve the loss of that relationship.
Yeah.
You're going to grieve the good times because it's not all bad, You're going to miss that. You're going to grieve that. Grieve it, go through the grief stages, and move on. Don't go back.
Yeah, even if it's an online, even if it's a web page or a YouTube site or whatever, it's still going to mark some place that you felt good at, and you're still going to miss other people who are there. You're going to miss your interaction. And that's one of our problems is a lot of times we as people will tend to over romanticize the past. That is why it's so easy for narcissists, the last stage of the narcissistic cycle. Hoover is in like the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
They'll suck people back up. Yeah, or I missed the third stage, which would be discard. So you have your love bombing, your devaluation. That's just when they're constantly, you don't understand. I'm always having to cover for you. The only reason why I'm having problems is because you're so stupid. And oh man, it's you're just lucky that I can deal with you. That stage, and then it goes to discard where I don't want you anymore. They just toss you aside. Usually they find somebody else, but if they don't find,
you're gonna find fuel.
Yeah. They'll be working on several people at the same time, and at some point they get back to you and like, oh yes, things were so hard, but yeah, I really miss being with you, and they'll try to give you that special sense of, oh yes, that idealization of, oh yes, we were so much together, we were twin flames. We're meant to be together and blah, 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 even though your nose is too big or so, they'll come. It sounds comical, but a lot of times, there'll be that little thing in there.
Yeah. So therapists are great for this, for healing. And because you have CBT therapy, you're at DBT, you've got EMDR. I've went through all that, and EMDR worked great for me, you have trauma-focused therapy. Let's see, what else do you have? There's just different types of therapy. Dr. Gretchen probably will know way better than me on that part of it because, but it's after you get over the grieving and all that, just remember when you're thinking about how great those good times were, think about how bad those bad times were also. Mm-hmm. That is what you have to keep remembering. So, it's part of the healing process, but you still need to keep the zero contact. And you do need to express your emotions. That's one that I forgot to say. You've got to have somebody to talk to about it. Because if you're in your own head, you'll still be there, because it's just that circle. You've got to have support, that support to be able to talk to someone, have them bring you out, do something different. Change your routine up to a different routine, so that, first of all, the narcissist isn't aware of your new routine. But second of all, someone that definitely, can make you learn something different. Might try something different, activities or something that you've been isolated. Most people have been isolated by the time they get out of that, it's, you've got to do self-care. You've got to grieve. You've got to go through all these things, but you also get a therapist, have them help, peer support. Like Ben said, keep helping someone keep you accountable.
And there's been a massive growth in online resources such as this one. This is the Narcissist Injury Care Foundation. It is brand new. And that is just what they deal with. Right now, she just started. There we go. She's only got 3 podcasts up, but she has a list of resources of, come on. Where is it? Maybe it was another place. But yeah, she has a list of, here it is. Shelters, mental health. Yeah, she has a list of people who are trained to deal with narcissistic personality disorder. And there's, they all have websites. So there's ways to reach out there. This is a pretty new site. So like I said, it's still, in the formation stages, but she appears to be doing weekly podcasts. So, it's not even changing. It's supposed to be changing the web. Oh, well, I didn't do something right. Stop screen sharing. But yeah, she has a podcast, a list of resources up there for different doctors. There's another, where was it? Oh, good grief. I swear.
There's no cure for narcissism, is there?
No.
I mean,
there's not a what?
There's no cure.
There's different treatments that they try to work them through, but yeah.
I'm just going to this is coming from my opinion, nothing to do professional or anything. My opinion, no.
Yeah, and that is one thing that is very important. Online, it is real easy, super easy to get stuck in one of these relationships. You may think, well, because I'm not one-on-one, we're not, 2 flesh and blood people in the same room, that we're in a,
you would think that would be different.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's actually easier because...
It's actually easier.
Yeah, because it's much easier. Everybody wears a mask, yes, but it's much easier for somebody who's much more malicious or a type B personality to maintain a mask for a couple of hours, and they'll tell you, "Oh yeah, I love you," and
very easy.
Yes, it's very easy to maintain. Every now and again, you'll see them slip, though, depending upon if there's any stress coming in. But a lot of drama. If somebody's, and that's one of the marks of a, where was it? That's one of the marks of a narcissist is arrogant, haughty behavior or attitude, often envious of others or believes that others are envious of them, lacks empathy. That's a huge one.
Yes.
Interpersonally exploitative, meaning they take advantage of others.
Without a second thought.
Has a sense of entitlement, such as unreasonable expectations of, especially of favorable treatment or of automatic compliance with our expectations. Requires excessive admiration. Yeah, that's one of the more popular ones. Believes they are special. Grandiose sense of self-importance. Preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. That's how the DSM actually defines a narcissist.
Right.
You only have to have 5 of those, 5 of the 9 to be diagnosed as a narcissist. And of course, there's also a lot of comorbidities, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
You can have somebody who's histrionic. Which histrionic is probably the easiest way to define that is somebody who's constantly in need of attention, attention seeking. They'll tend to be very flirtatious. But yeah, a lot of the base behaviors are the same.
They're really inappropriate in the way they try to get attention as well.
Okay, so on histrionic, they seek attention and act in a dramatic, emotional way, and some of their symptoms are have a need to be the center of attention, be overly concerned with their appearance, have rapidly changing emotions. Believe can be easily influenced by others, believe relationships are more intimate than they are. They blame others for their failures. They act inappropriately sexual with most people they meet, be overly sensitive to criticism or disappointment, and then, have a low tolerance for frustration. That's your DSM. And there's no medicines to treat that. There's just none.
Yeah.
So.
It's a personality flaw. It's not a,
right.
It's nothing. It's not your SSRI uptake, and nothing SSRI is going to do or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no chemical imbalance there as far as like fixing the dopamine. I'm sure you get a rush of dopamine by doing that, but what I'm saying is like just with all the other disorders, and then when you take them to therapy, they learn how to hone their skills and become better at what they do.
Yeah,
and that's just what I found personally where I work, and I've done this. I've been in the same place for over 20 years, and that. I know that a lot of people say, "Oh, it's got to be scientific." Trust me, come to my facility and be there for 20 years, and I can guarantee you can come get some scientific information because we see it every day. And it's sad because some people you go like I did. I come home and I cry my eyes out because I had to say no and I had to turn around and be mean. And don't think it don't hurt me as an empath, but I was called everything but a child of God. But I had to just sit there indifferent to it when inside my heart was breaking. And that's an everyday occurrence with borderline personality disorder.
It's really difficult. Really difficult.
Especially being an empath and feeling every single thing that they feel, knowing that there's nothing there except emptiness. And that's why I know it's emptiness and it's so dark. Just empty, blank, abandoned. They already feel, even though they may not be abandoned, the fear of abandonment is there. It's sad. But the misdiagnosis is worse because they're put on medications. Like, wait, Woodbar? Yes. There you go, Tampa B. That's exactly where I was getting to. The damage that was done before from being misdiagnosed and put on medications they did not need. Then you got a whole new ball game here, just trying to undo what you've already done and dealing with the original diagnosis. So it's very complicated. So what you need to do is take care of for narcissism, take care of yourself. Know that it wasn't your fault. Know that nothing you did to deserve that. You were a victim of a narcissist. You got caught in their tangled web. And boy, what a tangled web they weave. There's so many tools for help.
Yeah.
You just have to get them, and you have to practice the zero contact or the gray rock, whichever you must do. But like I said, for me, I don't have to gray rock. I have zero contact, and it's hard. It's difficult. You grieve it. Yes, you do. I've cried plenty of nights, but it has to happen for your own self-preservation. Yeah.
Then at the minimum, if you even have to do gray rock, you have to retrain yourself to have those boundaries, like expressions. When you speak to them, you can say, I remember that differently, and just leave it at there. Don't say, no, I just remember it differently. Just stick to it. Here's another one. I'm not going to explain why this is important to me, but it is. And just boom, you have to be really strict, and that's part of that boundary, which is going to be hard to do. because
the boundaries
they're excellent at getting you to violate your own boundaries.
They do not respect boundaries at all.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
So that at all. They're going to do everything possible. Go to your friends, go to your mutual friends. Like I said, you have to be careful who you confide in. It's just an all around lifestyle change, but know that it wasn't your fault. Self-care, get your self-confidence back and know that you're better than the way you were treated. And if it's that exhausting, it is not a good relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. Be sure to journal. Journaling can be really good because, of course, our memories are so fallible and they are excellent at that whole gaslighting thing. That is one of the hallmarks of them. And they will get you to doubt things that happen. So by all means, if you think something's important, journal it. Even if you're dealing, even if you're post-relationship and you're having to do the gray rock things, then especially journal, because they are still, even though you're trying to maintain boundaries and keep them, at arm's length, they're still going to keep probing at you. And, things like, if you continue to speak to me like that, I'll walk away. I'm not willing to talk about that. I'm going to step away from this conversation. Thank you for inviting me, but I'm not available. And, you have to.
Yeah, you don't have to go to everything you're invited to. That's what I tell people. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah. And put a period at the end of it, not a semicolon, a period.
Right. Yeah. It ends here. No, that's an end. Yeah.
It's so hard, though, as an empath. It is so hard to do that.
Oh, I know. Trust me. I'm with you on that. I was going to try. There we go. I was going to pull this up to show you. So I really don't want to show my notes, but because this is my journal from, it may not even come up on my camera.
I can't see it.
You can't.
I don't know.
Do you see what I titled that? Did you see what I titled that? Crazy Maker.
Oh, okay.
That's part of my. Yeah, that's my journal on my phone, and it's titled Crazy Maker. So, just saying, that's what it feels like.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you do feel like you're going crazy, and you think white is black and black is white and up is down.
Exactly.
Because that's what they're.
Yeah, they're gonna. You're exactly right, Shannon. You're gonna walk outside and say they're gonna tell you that sky is green and that grass is blue, and you better not think any different.
And I noticed one of the things that popped up for me, an unlikely place for support. It's really not support so much as it would be Udemy has recovery from narcissistic relationship for $15 to $20. It's a class on it where they step you through and you just learn. Even they have something in that. So there's plenty of places online. Of course, we mentioned Dr. Ramani. That is an excellent place where you just listen to, and she's got tons of videos on narcissists that can get you to think in ways which you may be used to a certain particular methodology, but she's also really good at plugging in other situations in there that maybe you hadn't thought of and looking at it from different directions. So that's an excellent source. We already talked about that one site I found.
Red was Retire Red. I like what she said about reading an older journal, reminded her of why not to go back. Yeah. And yes, Sophia's right. She's an ice queen. She is. No, Sophia. I'm an ice queen.
Yes, and by all means, I mean, we all wear masks, and so that is a series of, it's a persona. The word persona rather means mask or something you put on. By all means, you have to have, when you're dealing with a psychopath, when you're dealing with a narcissist, you turn into that ice queen. You turn into whatever you need to do to protect yourself.
Call your friends like that, like I do. That one right there, I can call her at any time, and if I don't have the strength, she does.
I wish I could say, Matt,
It's Sophia.
Yeah, Sophia. What are you trying to say?
Aaron does a really good job at
He
pronouncing
can
that
say
name.
it, but I
Yeah,
can't.
and it's like I don't know
It's
why
Sophia.
he's so good at pronouncing German and
I know, really
everything
is.
else. Yes, and by all means, just a therapist.
Cosmic, yes, I do too. Twice a week, 3 times a week if needed. We do ours on telemed on. Yes, absolutely, and I depend on mine.
Yes, and oftentimes therapists have therapists.
Oh yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Like your lawyers have lawyers.
I mean, I've had a difficult time finding a good therapist personally, and I mean, I'm not alone in this. I've heard many people say that they've had a rough time with it. How do you recommend for a starting place for finding one that you might gel with?
So first of all, I mean, I don't know, like so I know that I have to use my insurance, which limits me because a lot of great therapists or psychologists
Don't take insurance.
don't take insurance.
I know.
And
Me too. I have to use it.
but so what I did was I started with, I just Googled in my area and I couldn't find anything that took my insurance, or they did, but it wasn't anything that, like, they didn't do CPTSD, they didn't do anxiety disorder, or they only worked for just counseling, not therapy. And so I just kept looking and I kept Googling and I kept Googling and then I expanded out. And what happened was I put my name, I got lucky with this. The company that I'm with now, Wellcore, I was actually going through BetterHelp, and because they allow you to switch therapists till you find one, but they didn't take my insurance. So I put my name on the waiting list because Wellcore said they were actually going to start taking my insurance in about a month. So I did that and I waited. And they called me in about 3 weeks and said they actually do a great assessment of you and everything. And then Gretchen's over here. I have ongoing therapists and 2 need therapists. Sorry, but the very first one, because they have such a system that you answer all these questions and they put you with who's specialized. I've never changed therapists, and I'm glad actually, because I didn't want to have to tell somebody all over again.
What's the name of the company again? Wellcore?
It's QOR. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And they have them. I mean, it's like I do telemed therapy, and if my computer or my internet happens to be down, or I'm not available, or I'm, as my mods and everybody know when I'm driving, because my therapist, I'm late for therapy, she'll call me. We'll do it by phone. So, but they will let you change until they find one, and then Gretchen just said there you go. See, yeah, you have to tell them what their specialties are, and that's what I knew what I needed. So, or actually, I didn't know what I needed. I knew what my symptoms were, and I knew what I was going through. I actually did not know that I had CPTSD because I didn't slow down long enough to know that. But I knew that something had just broke in me. It broke. I compartmentalized everything from when I was like young until now, and it just got so full it blew open. And I knew
I was just diagnosed with that like a couple months ago, and
EMDR has done so much for me.
Yeah.
And you were able to do that through telemedicine?
Yes, absolutely.
Because I've heard there are difficulties with that because you hold on to the things. And
no. I refuse to do the cans because it reminded me of Scientology. Nope, wouldn't do it. So we did the tap or the eye movement, and the rapid eye movement. Actually, we thought it was going to deal with my seizures. But, I mean, or affect my seizures, but it didn't.
That could, yeah.
But it didn't because there's no lights flashing or anything like that. And then we tried the tap. You know, the where I did it, or on my legs, as long as it's dual. But the eye movement, I got the most results from.
Yeah, and I did it.
Safe, didn't cause any seizures or anything like that.
And and I did it with ears, and again, vision is easy for me.
Yes.
More not easy, but it worked. It yielded the highest result.
Mine too. The vision did the highest result for me too.
Yeah, and I think it's probably because the way your brains engage so closely with your eyes instead of because there's a lot of things like how ambidextrous you are that do with a feeling, but I can understand the cans. I mean, were you ever?
I was not, but
Okay.
nope, not going to do it. It's not going to happen.
I thought that was a great question from Blake. But
what did Blakey say?
You may feel guilty, but he said, "How do you disengage from a narcissist without feeling guilty?"
Guilt. You're going to feel it. You're going to grieve it.
Yeah.
I think you're just going to have to feel guilty.
You have to push through it. You have to push through that. That is something you have to push through. That you're going to feel that guilt. Okay, so what did I say, Ben, to you this morning? Guilt is the price we pay for a debt we may never owe.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, guilt is a useless emotion. And I say that by all seriousness. Guilt is a useless emotion. You're worrying about, and you're guilty about something, and you feel guilty about something. That something is already in the past, or it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So you need to live in the here and now and take care of yourself day by day. Sometimes I tell people that are in grieving, in the grieving process, which a lot of us are and still are. But when something traumatic first happens, you just have to breathe in, breathe out. You made it. Breathe in, breathe out. You made it. And before long, you're going to find yourself where you've went a minute without having to remind yourself of that. So it's a grounding technique. And then you're going to be in half an hour. And there's no time limit on this. There's no timetable. You just do it until you're comfortable going forward. Before you know it, you're going hour by hour, not having to remind yourself of this. And then day by day, and then week by week. And eventually you're going to, life has a funny way of getting us through things. And I always tell everybody on my channel, we can do hard things. And it's going to be hard, but we can do it.
Yeah. And that's a very good point, because this is a class of people who, if you give them like when you give them that little tiny, little creative, criticism, little constructive criticism, boom, it's going to be that way. If you reject them, it's going to be
it's going to be worse.
It's going to explode, and it's going to be the most. And the big thing to keep in mind is just melodrama. Just keep that word back in mind and just think of the worst 80s sitcom you ever thought of. Keep that little thought in the back of your mind. And after a while, if you do that, you'll start to see almost kind of humor. And it's like, wow, you're really saying, that we did this and that? And it's like, no, but yeah.
That's why I keep my Crazy Maker journal. Literally, that's why I named it that. And the main thing, avoid retaliation on a narcissist. Don't try to retaliate, because you're not going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just plain as day. You're not going to win. You may think you have. Trust me, you haven't. Don't retaliate.
Giving them more fuel.
That's right. There you go.
Negative or positive, it's still fuel.
It's fuel. Yeah, and they may let you think you've won, but trust me, you didn't. Don't retaliate. You're not going to win. There's some things in life that we just have to walk away from, knowing that we did the best we could for ourselves. And that was the most important.
That's true.
Rolling Stone, who invented a lock washer. No, I'm totally lying. But she writes that I have good intentions for self-care, but then it turns into self-indulgent, which turns into using. Apparently, I need to practice positive self-care. Yeah, it gets very... That is a very easily downward slope, but just try to
get the support.
Get
some support, even if you have to keep someone with you all the time. Like keep your friend, or because sometimes there's narcissists that will, once you end that relationship, you might want to be with someone else. Not in another relationship. I'm just saying, with someone for self-protection, self-preservation. You don't know what they're going to do.
Exactly.
So just someone there just to keep you accountable and to keep you safe, and to keep just someone to talk to that you trust, and that that's not going to be that one that runs back do that triangulation that they do.
Mm-hmm.
I so identify with that, Matt. Yeah.
Sophia is, yeah.
Yeah, I breathe satire as a way of life. I can relate to that.
Trust me, she's telling the truth.
She is.
Oh yes. I don't know how many hours. I think till both our phones die, we FaceTime. But like, oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's also
My beautiful Hamina.
Yeah.
She's so smart.
Yeah, I like how well produced everything is, and you pop on my channel. Oh well, I'll let it go. But yeah,
no, that's what we do on my channel. I really do have things all kind of laid out, and then we end up like, what the heck? Whichever way it goes.
I thought, oh, this is going to be masterful. I have all these bullet points laid out, a little detail in case I forgot, but not too much where I felt like reading them. All nice and laid out to start the program, and I'll find them probably like about an hour afterwards. Like, oh, that's where they went. Like,
you know what though? Sometimes we're here to help each other, to help people in the chat, and that's why I find like on my channel when the chat starts getting really involved, we're gonna go naturally, organically where it goes. I don't care what I've had planned for that. If they need something, that's where I'm gonna go.
Yeah, and that's true. It's important to have a lot of flexibility and things like that. Another site I found was Share. Yeah. Wait a minute. Let me try to share my screen the best way. Entire screen. Oh, yes. And this one,
there you go.
This time it scrolls. But yeah, Share Well. They have Heal from Narcissistic Abuse. Yeah, where you can sign up. I haven't really looked at that much, but they have like different chats and different groups and all sorts of things that you can get involved in. A little community there. Certainly something I'm going to dig into on other subjects, just because, I find this kind of interaction to be very valuable. So, there's all sorts of stuff I've been finding. Stop screen sharing. There we go.
I gotta find this here. Go ahead. Why did my Facebook, it turned into French and I can't fix it? Oh no.
Oh.
I'm not even playing. I did this yesterday when I was working on something, and now I can't make it work. Everything is in French. I don't even know where anything's at.
It's all fine.
I mean,
you could do that.
I don't know how I did it. I did it on my phone, and now I don't know how to undo it because now I can't find what I want because I can't read this.
Right.
Yeah, this is horrible. I wanted to send. Oh my gosh, please.
Speaking of French, I'm going to drop this in the chat. We're going to learn French. Here we go. Poof. That is, excuse me, monsieur.
Well,
there is an eyeball in my soup. That's an important phrase you may need to remember. So, yeah.
What is this? I don't. Oh my gosh. Is this Cher?
Cher? Like the singer Cher?
Oh, wait. This is not it. Oh my God. Like, I was going to. Okay. I can't read French. In my whole. So I was going to share with you I was going to try to bring over to the private chat the Mental Health Matters Facebook group, because the link to it, because they do a lot in that Facebook group. Dr. Gretchen's in there all the time, and we have
let me see here if I can
peer support, but I can't read French, so I don't know what I'm going to do here now. Oh, geez.
Is your Facebook French or?
Oh, my whole Facebook is. Yeah, this is not good.
Well,
I need help.
Let's see here. Let me try mental.
Oh, thanks, Blake.
Oh
no, habla Francois.
Nice. On that
Hamina, French? Yes, no.
Oh yeah, I forgot she knows French. Oh
yeah.
No hablo francés.
Oh my gosh.
Le français? No.
Boom.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there it is. Poof. Okay, aha.
You found it?
Yes, and then we go screen share, and we want to share entire screen, And let's not share this screen. Let's share the right one. No, we want to share the right one. Aha! Yes, I actually did it.
That's
I don't
it.
believe
Mine's in French. All of that is in French on mine. I can't even read it.
Well, French is all good too.
Oh wait, join group there. See, I could have sent that link to post in this, but I didn't even know what that meant because mine says in Vitar, I guess. I don't know. Hell, I was gonna try to put the link. I don't know. Oh, I guess I could let you in there, huh?
Oh, there we go. Copy.
Okay, there you
go. Poof! As if by magic.
Well, I say I could let you in there. It's in French. I can't. Oh, this is not funny. Like you think you had Ben? You think you had a bad?
Well,
wait.
To tell the truth, I learned to read at Bisbee High School. To me, all English looks French anyway. I mean, it's all.
It does.
What does this name?
You're in, Ben. But now, hey, my phone is not French anymore.
Your French is not French?
No, my phone isn't on French anymore. But my computer still is. It's on English.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, better that than Swahili.
But I can't read my computer.
Well, if it's Swahili, just remember all dogs speak Swahili.
Yeah, if it could go bad, it has. If it could go bad, it does.
Wow, but that's okay.
But what I was going to say on the Mental Health Matters on that Facebook page is, on the group, you have to answer the questions. I just approved you, Ben, but you have to answer the questions, agree to the rules, because in there, what goes on in there stays in there. We do not share that with anybody, but there definitely is a safe, soft place to land.
Cool.
And also we have chats for everything. Like we'll pull side chats, if like one on anxiety, depression, domestic violence, whatever it may be, and then you do peer support that way. So, yes.
Nice.
To see what those are the chats, the side chats. If you wanted to get peer support with somebody that is chronic illness or boundaries or anxiety or, and as the need comes up, we add whatever they need. I approved you. That should say approved. Refresh.
You have to hit a button. Boom. Aha. Yes.
Let's see.
I may not want to go in this because
no. Yeah, it's private stuff there, but yeah, that. And we really do take care of privacy in there. There is a zero tolerance policy in there. If we see anything sent anywhere on anything, there's no second chances. And that's only because of the importance of that page, that group there.
Yeah.
And Gretchen does Zoom calls, like once or twice a week, once or twice a month. So people can be seen and heard. And so we'll do Zoom calls. And we've been doing them for content creators too. Just your support. So I will let y'all know when I know a lot of creators asking lately. But Dr. Gretchen is very active in there. I mainly see on the YouTube side of it mostly, but she's in the Facebook group.
That's great. Well, I hate to pop off, but I'm in Toronto, which I don't live in Toronto.
Yeah, Shannon.
But it's really nice meeting you and getting to talk to meet you. And I wanted to thank you for letting me join in, because this has been an issue for me for quite a long time. And
no, I'm glad you were here. I'm glad. I hope something.
Oh, it's very helpful. Disconnection's hard, but necessary.
It is very hard, but we can do hard things.
Yes.
Just tell yourself that every day. We can do hard things.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, yes, it is. And
everything you've been through, Shannon, in your whole life has led you up to each point that you went through more and more. And then that led you to become stronger to go through. So everything that you've been through up until now, whatever happens next, you're strong enough to get through that. And then that's going to make you stronger for the next thing. We can do hard things. We're built that way. You can do this.
Okay, well, again, thanks for letting me be part of it. And thanks to everybody in the chat. And I will see everybody next time. Thanks. Have a great day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us, and
Thank you, Ben.
just do me a real quick favor. Describe to me the perfect sandwich.
Are we doing this bologna thing again? My perfect sandwich is cream cheese, red grapes, seedless grapes, and canned white canned chicken breasts, drained. Mix it all together. Cut up my grapes in half and put it on a sub.
Wow. And there was very little hesitation there.
No, that's my favorite sandwich.
Wow. Okay. It's important to know. Your life could depend on it. You don't eat, you're going to die. Ross Perot said that.
Correct.
So, yeah. But this is. I would like to thank you for your assistance with this heavy topic.
Oh,
And
no problem.
yeah, like we said, you don't have to have a one-on-one relationship with somebody. It works the same way.
Unfortunately, it does.
Yeah. Oh, Tuber Chad. Thank you. Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank everybody in the chat for. Whoa! I just heard something. Luckily, it was only in my head. That probably didn't sound good.
Oh Lord. Yes, Sophia. I love cream cheese. I just take a block of one of the cream cheese, 1 can of the chicken breast, because I don't really like meat, but I will eat white. I will eat white meat chicken, so like the breast. And because I'm usually in a hurry and I'm making it for work, so I'll drain that, I'll throw it in there, mix it all up, and then slice my grape. They have to be red seedless grapes, or because purple works, but the red's best. And chop them up in half, throw them in there as many as I want, mix it all up, put it on a sub, and we're good to go. Love it.
Nice. That actually does sound good. I would never have thought of cream cheese on a sandwich, but
it is great.
Yeah. So not bad. You did good.
Thank you.
Pop quiz time usually throws people off, but yes. And again, this is Keilah with Mental Health Matters. Please, her channel should be linked in the description below. So please, by all means, go there and show them some love. And yeah, very, very good little channel. And you guys tackle a lot of subjects I've been noticing. And
yes, we have.
And even the car chat I find interesting.
My car talk, that's on my private. That's on my personal page, my personal channel. So that started out as therapy. My therapist told me to put my phone on video and just video myself talking all the way to work while I'm driving to work, so that I can get everything out from home that I don't bring it to work. And then on the way home, same thing. Well, I kind of was like, well, I've had my little private YouTube channel here for since 2011, I think. So I decided one day, I was like, I'm going to see what this going live thing's all about. I had no idea what I was doing. I typed in car talk and I called it car talk and pushed live, and everybody popped in and they were like, oh, you got to keep doing this. You got to keep doing this. I was like, all of a sudden I'm finding myself, I'm not alone in here. I could talk to people and they talk back. So yeah.
Oh, I have to know. I haven't been able to join you since. I don't know why I keep emoting like that. That's from Greg on the behavior panel. I picked up one of these behaviors by watching them too much. But how did the situation with your car work out? You thought you hit something at one point?
Yes, it's fine. It was something. I actually had somebody that was behind me run over the same thing. And then one of my employees come behind, and I didn't even get to fill everybody in. Oh, Blake, he loves car talk. But it was a piece of metal. Somebody going to the scrapyard, and they dropped it off of so it was metal, but it was silver, like it was gray, same color as the road. So that's why I didn't see it. But it didn't hurt my car because I just had my oil changed and everything. So my car's good. But it scared the crap out of me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I've been amazed. I was driving a work truck at one point, and a flimsy part of the 18-wheeler in front of me, like the base of the trailer, I saw something fly off of it, but I didn't give it much thought because it looked like it was so light, really thin aluminum. It flew up in the air and it hit the truck I was in there. Here, boom. And I'm thinking, it's nothing. I went back to the office, and yeah, it cut a huge gash, and it's like, wow, that would have done a number on me if it had been, that much more forward. It would have come in through the window. But yeah, it's amazing what.
And that's a brand new road. They just repaved. I mean, it's like a brand new, but it's the main road, that goes through. But what's bad is, yes, it does. Recording your drives, yes, awakened, absolutely, and it helped me. My therapist is like so smart about that. Except I don't think she sees what I do now, so I'm glad. But yeah, because I get grabbed up by all my mods and all my people. They're like, watch the road, quit taking pictures, blah blah blah. But
yes, she
that road that road that we have is the main road, and the scrapyard is past it. So people are like, they're just now starting to tear down buildings and homes that were damaged in Harvey and Imelda. Like, we still don't have all our schools back up since then.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, we were demolished. Like, it took everything we had. So twice.
That's right. I forgot all about that. I mean, because I keep thinking about just hitting the coast, but it's like, no, it went interior and.
Oh, Harvey took the house and.
Oh my God.
Imelda, I always say, she came back in and took everything else. She took my car, the motorcycle, the Kubota, everything we had is gone. Like, we've had to start completely over. Water 8 foot in your house, you cannot even replace your baby books. So yeah. So it's just starting over, but we can do hard things.
Are you at the same site? Are you going to use the same house site and all that? And just
we're here. No, we're here. Like, this is
okay.
This is houses from this was from Harvey. We had to get rid of the other one. And then this is a new one from Harvey. Imelda come right up into it, but we built 8 feet. Or no, wait, I forgot how many feet higher than the highest point of Harvey got. Who knew that Imelda was going to come in and be even higher than that?
Oh my gosh.
We had the Gulf of Mexico over I-10, Interstate 10, twice.
You have I-10 out there? Wow, we got I-10 going right by you. Wow.
Yeah. I live like right on the I-10 corridor. Just right there. And when you have pictures of the Gulf of Mexico going over I-10, yeah, it's pretty bad. Twice in 2 years.
Well, now I know if I want to see Keilah, all I have to do is get on I-10 and drive for 800 million gazillion miles, and I'll be there eventually in like 5 weeks. But
what they say about Texas, the sun has rose and the sun has set, and here I am in Texas yet. It's like 853 miles from when you come across from Louisiana to El Paso. You're still not out of Texas yet.
Yeah, and I heard that. Texas. I've heard Texas described to me many times, and people from military subcontractors that worked with me out at the fort here, and they said, Texas is like driving through three states. You feel like you're still like, oh yeah, I got to be in New Mexico. No, this is still Texas, but it's like
it's still
completely different. But
I live in the South for a reason. I do not like all this cold weather, and everybody up north, please take it back because I don't like it.
And I'm already looking forward to summer next year.
It's 54 degrees here this morning. That's too cold. Sorry, I don't do cold.
Well, thank you again for joining me.
Thanks for inviting me.
Joining us. Excellent knowledge that you have there.
Thank you.
And again, everybody, please check out Mental Health Matters YouTube channel. It should be linked down in the description below. And I do hope everybody has themselves a most awesome day. And, do your best to try to leave everybody better than you found them.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ben.
Oops.